Good morning, good morning, good morning. And this is a day the Lord has made, and we're here to rejoice and be glad in it. I want to welcome you to the Hope TV. What a privilege, what a blessing, and an honor it is to have you here with us for Morning Dew. It's a tremendous way and thing to start your day off with some devotion and some positivity and hope and some positive vibes. How you start your day is often how you're going to end it. And so to start your day with something that's inspirational and for you to tune in today to get a daily dose of hope means the world to us here at the Hope TV. So welcome. So excited to have you. We've been going strong now for 18 months. And when God gave me this vision about Hope TV back in March of 2020, right when the pandemic, at the onset of the pandemic, I never knew I couldn't imagine the type of impact that we would have globally. And so many people every day, all day, are inspired by the programming here. And we are about entertaining faith, faith that entertains, faith that inspires, gives instructions. And so we are just excited. I'm happy to have you here with us. Good to see you this morning. And it's that Tommy, God bless you, San Antonio. Awesome to have you here with us. And wherever you're watching from, thank you. Drop us a line. Let us know the city and state. Good to see you, Ms. Washington. Thank you for being a part of Hope TV this morning. Drop me a line. Let me know the city, state, country from which you're viewing. We take your viewership very, very seriously here at the Hope TV. And I'm just excited. I really, really am. My first 12 months, we had over 100 million views of our content throughout all the combined platforms. That's Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Amazon. Good to see you, Patrice. It's Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Amazon, Fire TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, websites, the dewey-smith.org website, the House of Hope Atlanta website, and Hope TV website. So we have all these different platforms that we stream our content through on a daily basis. And so I'm excited. Good morning to you, Brian Hardy. Glad to have you with us today. And I appreciate you so very much. Everybody who's tuned in and those who dropped me a line this morning, it's a pleasure. I'm excited. We're getting ready to start a new season next week of Hope TV. All new programming starts next week. And we got some new shows that are going to be coming. One called, I think it's called Decoding Wealth, new boss up. Good morning, Tina. God bless you. So we got some great things happening for you. So I want y'all to make sure you tune in next week. Next Monday is when the new season starts. That's going to be season 5 of the Hope TV. And so we're just excited, and I really, really am. I want to thank the Hope TV family, my Hope TV team. They have been doing an amazing job in putting all the content together. Some people don't realize this is not easy. Pastor Nicholas, yes, Pastor. I love it's kind of glory that in Las Vegas. Yeah, I love the Simpsons, and it's an honor to be able to cover them and cover that church as their overseer. So God bless you out in Las Vegas, Carol, Angeline Washington. God bless you. And so we got some great content starting next week, and I'm excited about it. My Friday Night Live. I'm going to start a new Friday Night Live series this Friday, October 1st. And so we're gonna look at those who we took a break from Friday Night Live and still be playing. A lot of ones we did. We got a new season, a new Friday Night Live coming this Friday, and I want y'all to be tuned in. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. Friday Night Live is coming Friday, so I'm excited about all of you tuning in. Hey Tom, good to see you. Tom is from California, Victorville, California. Blessings to you, Tom. Glad to have you with us today, and I hope things are well for you out there in California as well. So we got Las Vegas in the house, Nevada. We got Victorville, California in the house. We got San Antonio, Texas in the house. We got Fort Valley, Georgia in the house. So, man, we're just excited about all of you. And my prayers today that God's going to keep you. That the Kojic, all right. My first job was in the Kojic church as a musician. God bless you. So I'm so happy to have you all with us. And listen, if you're watching through a platform that will allow you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share, please do so now. Subscribe, like, comment, or share. Every time you subscribe, you can get notifications as to when new content is uploaded. God bless you. Got Camden, Arkansas here as well. My God, look at that. The Central Standard Time. Blessings to you. So when you subscribe, you can get notifications as to when new content has been uploaded. So subscribe, you can do that. It helps us to leverage our platform with advertisers as we're trying to get into more homes. Helps us with our Facebook algorithms. Oh, now your like buttons are so preeminently important because Facebook has its own kind of algorithm. It tightens it, and it's gotten more difficult, more tight. We lost a lot of viewers because they keep tightening the algorithm. But your like button helps us to keep it expanded so we can get into more people, touch more people, we can be more visible. So your like buttons help us to expand. So please hit the like button. Your comments are important because they help us with our engagements. God bless you. Got somebody from Chicago. I was just in Chicago last week. Blessings to you. Ms. Miles, Katharina Miles, love Chicago. We were there last week installing Pastor Richard Sharp as pastor of Fellowship Church there in Chicago last week. So blessings to you, Ms. Miles. In the Windy City. And your comments are helpful with our engagements, our algorithms, and also during these kind of teaching forums, interactive forums like this, your comments are very helpful to me because it lets me know if I'm connected, if it's making sense. So subscribe, like, comment, and then most importantly, hit that share button. I mean, every time you hit that share button, if one person views it, right now, if everybody would share this link with one person, if one person watched along with you, we double our numbers, we double our influence and our impact because our whole aim here is to give the world a daily dose of hope through entertaining faith and entertaining programming. So God bless you. Wholesome programming for the entire family right here on the Hope TV all day, every day. So blessings to you. Make sure you check it out on our website, HTV Now. You get a whole list of the programming there. We have about 30 programs now, and we're adding more. So I'm excited about season 5. Hope you are too as well. Guys, it's finally here. It's finally here. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to get into this devotional, but I got to do this. Y'all give me a moment to do this because I'm so excited. My dad put a guitar in my hand when I was 3 years old. I started taking piano lessons at 5. I've been singing in church since I was 4 or 5 years old. I've been a choir director, piano player, bass guitar player, you name it. I've done it in church. And so I had a dream since I was a kid. I had a dream that I would, produce my own album, my own solo project. And originally I thought it was going to be R&B when I was very young, and so I've been, love music. Music was my first love. When I started preaching at 17 and pastoring at age 19, older mentors told me just leave that music stuff alone, focus on this. And good morning, Derek Stingley. So I kind of put my music love from an industry perspective on the back burner, even though I had some great opportunities, even when I was a teenager. A couple record labels wanted to sign me and to sing some music, but of course that's not going to get into that now. But long story short, I've been dreaming about producing my own music, own solo project since I was a kid. and young kid and family. It's taken over 40 years, but this Friday it's coming a reality. And so back in March, I started a record label called, released my single called "Your Presence Is a Gift," and that song is one of the singles off of the new project. And family, can I tell you what's happened with that project? Uh, Praise God. Thank you so much, Tasha. Your presence is a gift. Y'all, can I tell you what happens? A couple things about it, and I'm gonna get to the lesson. Just give me a few moments. I'm very excited, as you can tell. Uh, Last week we were number 28 on Billboard, and we were the number one added song to gospel radio last week. Number 28 on Billboard last week, and we were the number one most added song to gospel radio in the country on Billboard. So last week, can y'all play that? So my first project, my first single. Oh my goodness, I mean, can you believe this? And we were number 28 on Billboard, and it's still right. And this is from an indie artist, a brand new artist. You know, people know me as a preacher, but this is my first artist work, my first single, number 20 on Billboard, number one most added song to radio last week. And I just got word this morning that we're gonna be number 20 again next week. So I'm excited about it, y'all. A lot of regions across the country, we were number one song. Praise 104.9, I think we were number one there. That's Norfolk, Virginia Beach, that Hampton Road area. We were number one on that list last week. And so it's amazing, man. I'm just completely blown away. We have a new video that's out, the official video that's out, "To Your Presence Is a Gift." And it was released on Sunday. If you haven't checked it out, go to my YouTube page, Dr. Dewey Smith, or Pepper Street Records YouTube page. You can see it there. It's amazing. We did it, and it's out. And then last but not least, man, my project, the pre-orders for my project, God Period, starts this Friday, October the 1st. Can y'all believe that? So y'all see that, man? Y'all see it? So you can get it this Friday, October the 1st. We have pre-orders first, and you can get those from our website, edeweysmith.org. That's just for the pre-orders. But then the whole album is going to be available October 15th. But if you people want to just get it in advance, you can get 3 songs Friday. You can download and get the first 3 songs. We call those pre-orders. And you get the first 3, you get three songs, and then the rest will be available in 2 weeks. You know, so if you pre-order, you're gonna get all of them, but you get 3 now, and then you get the 4 on the 15th. But then, so that's through my website. Pre-orders are only through my website, edeweysmith.org. But then on the 15th, it's going to be available in all digital platforms everywhere. We're also going to have hard copies of the CD. So some of you old school, you want to get the physical CD, you know, with the cover on it and the inserts and the sleeve that has all the names and the lyrics and the credits. So we'll have that available as well for those who like a hard copy. I know a lot of people still listen to music to their phone, but if you want the physical CD, we have copies. Even though a lot of cars don't have CD players, but some of you still like the CDs. I want you to have that as a keepsake as well. So I'm so excited, y'all. I'm so excited, man. This is crazy. It's going to be some amazing music on there, and I'm excited. So shout out to all the radio announcers across the country and who have been giving just raving reviews of my project and my single, "Your Presence Is a Gift." The official video is amazing. And I'm not just saying it because it's me. I think you're going to like it. I think it's very well produced. Shout out to my team who made it happen. That's John Webb, Benton Aladdin, Terrence Crawley, everybody who worked. I want to start naming names. I missed somebody, but it was amazing, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Tasha. So that's we want to do something. I didn't want to do a shirt and tie. And I said, I want this to be different. And because the shirt and tie had me in the box, I said, I want to do something that's different. So shout out to everybody who came aboard, the creative directors, the stylists, everybody, photographer, everybody, Marissa, everybody who's a part of this whole project. So I love y'all so much, Simone, everybody who's a part of this. So thank y'all so much for helping to pull this off. I'm so excited. So make sure y'all get the downloads this Friday, October 1st. And then if you're in Atlanta this coming Saturday morning, I'll be at Praise in the Park this Saturday, October 2nd. I'll be performing for Praise in the Park, man. Thank you, team. Appreciate it. So Praise in the Park will be Saturday. That's Praise 102.5. I also got added to that, to Radio One Atlanta. So I've been added to Radio One. The song is in rotation, Radio Atlanta, Radio One Atlanta. So I'm excited. I'm excited. So y'all just thanks for indulging me for a moment. So I appreciate y'all. Please help support my music, and thank you for giving me this time. I know you come on for morning dew, but I just need to, help a brother out. Give me some time to share. It goes both ways. I try to share with y'all. Y'all share with me. So thank y'all so much, okay, for your support. And we're number 28 again this week on Billboard. And so it's rising. So to God be the glory. And I thank y'all for y'all support. All right. All right. We're in the book of Galatians today. So we're gonna get into our lesson. So thank y'all for indulging for a moment. We're gonna get into our lesson today. We are in the book of Galatians. You can tell how excited we are. You're excited. Thank you, Jack Christian. I am. I'm excited. It's taken me a long time to do this, and I am. And some of the songs that I wrote on this project, I just think the whole project is amazing. I really do. I'm not just saying that. If you love gospel music and contemporary music, I think it's gonna be an amazing project. I really do, and really, I really do. And I'm so excited about presenting some great music for people who love real music and musicianship. You're gonna love this. So thank y'all so very much, and thanks for indulging me. October 1st, the record is called God Period. Why did I call it God Period? I call it God Period because the whole album is about God. It's about God Period. The reason why we made through this pandemic, God Period. We're not asking God for stuff. It's not about getting increase. It's not everything about this album points people to God. And I think that's why I called it God. I named it God Period because I want God to be the focus of it. So every single record is about God, and you're gonna be blessed by it. So thank you. All right, we're in the book of Galatians, and we've been going verse by verse through the book of Galatians. We finished chapter 1 last week, and that we're going to start chapter 2 today for our devotional. So I want to jump right into that. We're going to look at the first few verses of Galatians chapter 2 today. And I'm going to read these for you. And this is what Paul says. It kind of continues from chapter 1. Now, I'll read this and then I get some context. So this is the Message rendering, the Message Bible. It says 14 years after that first visit, Barnabas and I went up to Jerusalem and took Titus with us. I went to clarify with them what had been revealed to me. At the time, I placed before them exactly what I was preaching to the non-Jews. I did this in private with the leaders, those held in high esteem by the church, so that our concern would not become a controversial public issue marked by ethnic tensions, exposing my years of work to denigration and endangering my present ministry. Next verse, please. And he says something else. He takes it a step further. He says, significantly, Titus, non-Jewish though he was not required to be circumcised. While we were in conference, we were infiltrated by spies pretending to be Christians who slipped in to find out just how free true Christians are. Their ulterior motive was to reduce us to their brand of servitude. We didn't give them the time of day. We were determined to preserve the truth of the message. I love that next to last sentence. He says, we didn't give them the time of day. We didn't give them the time of day. Here's your devotional for today. Don't give it the time of day. Don't give it the time of day. That's your devotional message for today. Don't give it the time of day. Now, when you go back to the first verse of Galatians chapter 2, I want to just kind of throw some things out because sometimes when we're going through the Bible, ironically, we're doing a series called How the Bible Came to Be on Wednesdays at 12 noon and 7. Very informative. I invite you to see it. If you haven't checked it out yet, Tom and a few others of you have been a part of it. Tom and Tina and Tasha. Almost got Tom, Tina, and Tasha, and some others have been tuning into Wednesdays. And so it's been informative. But one thing I want to talk about relative to how the Bible came together, it's kind of weird how Paul starts this first verse of chapter 2. I want to talk about that for a moment because he says 14 years after that first visit. When you would think that's not how you would start 14 years after what first visit? What is he talking about here? It's a continuation. So this is a good point that I want to share with people. A lot of us don't know this. When Paul wrote the book of Galatians and the New Testament, when they wrote back in the Bible times, the book of the Old Testament, New Testament, they didn't have chapters and verses. There were no chapters, there were no verses. So when you look at the original Greek manuscripts in Hebrew and Greek, it didn't have chapters or verses. It was just like a manuscript. And actually, we probably don't get chapters and verses maybe around the 12th or 13th century AD. Yeah, probably 12th or 13th century. So there are no chapters or verses. And so Paul didn't have chapters. It was one manuscript. They had a group of scholars that they call redactors or others. They came in later to try to compartmentalize it. So they would look at the manuscript, scholars would, and try to find thought to break it up and put it in chapters. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate you, buddy. They would put it in chapters so that we can kind of find it. And this is a good indication. So a lot of times when you're reading the scriptures, people who don't know that, sometimes you go to one chapter to the next. It's typically when you start a new chapter, it's a new thought, but a lot of times the chapters here are continuations, because in the original there was no manuscript. Thank you, Sean. And so this is a good text. This is an excellent text to convey that point. Paul is talking about his initial conversion in chapter 1. And so this is really this is a great passage to show you how it's not a new thought. So even though it's a new chapter 2, verse 1, it's still a continuation of what he was talking about in chapter 1. So this is a great passage to show you how they're connected. And a lot of people don't know that. So I just want to throw that out to you, that no, there were no chapters in the original manuscripts. We don't get that to 12. So we didn't have chapters to maybe 900 years ago. But the original manuscripts did not have chapters. And this text, in this passage this morning, is part and parcel in a very, very clear indication of how he's continuing the theme of chapter 1. And in chapter 1, he was talking about his conversion, how he was saved. And so now he says that 14 years later, he went to Jerusalem. So he's talking here about 14 years after his conversion, after he had been sent out by the church of Jerusalem. So 14 years, he goes back to Jerusalem. Now, when you read Acts chapter 13 shows you when he was commissioned the first time by the church to go out along with Barnabas, right? And so he says 14 years after that first visit, Barnabas and I went up to Jerusalem and took Titus with us. So what he's saying here, he goes back to Jerusalem. So he's been working in the fields for about 14 years, but now he goes back. And a couple of things I want to say about this that I think are very, very important. And that really brings me to my first point, really, about what Paul is saying here. And really, what he's saying here is that I think there are three main items in this whole lesson. Number one, stay properly surrounded. Stay properly surrounded. Now, when you go back to that verse, to stay properly surrounded, as you're trying to stay focused on your assignment, and as you don't give it the time of day. I'm going to talk about what I mean. Don't give it the time of day. Stay properly surrounded. Because staying properly surrounded keeps you focused on the right things. What I like about this verse is 14 years later, Paul says, I go back to Jerusalem and I took with me Barnabas and Titus. Barnabas and I, and we took Titus. Now, what is amazing there is when you think about it, Barnabas was the guy that he started with. Barnabas was when Paul got commissioned the first time to go from the church of Jerusalem to take the gospel, He took Barnabas with him. And I like here how he still references Barnabas. And they had some challenges in their relationship, but they were both focused on the same goal. They had a little falling out one time over Barnabas' nephew, John Mark, because he deserted them the first journey. But anyway, I like the fact that Paul still, that in Galatians he references Barnabas. Barnabas was a day one. Barnabas was a ride or die. Barnabas was somebody who was with him. Barnabas was not fair weather about his assignment. And he also brings with him Titus, who's one of his mentees. And so, yeah, Acts 13 is when Paul was sent out from the church of Jerusalem. And so he says that Barnabas and I go back to Jerusalem. Barnabas and I go to Jerusalem and we took Titus. So he takes along people with him. And what I like about this is it's important that when you're trying to do something, you've got to stay properly surrounded. I think about a lot of the stuff that I've sought to do in ministry and in life and in business. Sometimes who you take with you can make or break you. Sometimes having the right people who love you, who be there with you, people who understand discretion, people who understand your strengths, people who understand your weaknesses, people who understand your successes, people who understand your struggles, people who can respect you, people who understand the God of your life, they understand the humanity, they understand the call, the vision, and the assignment. You got to have the right people around you. Barnabas went with him on the first missionary journey. Barnabas was not afraid. They had the same mission, the same vision. And he says 14 years after the first visit, I go back to Jerusalem. And guess who I take with me? I take Barnabas and I take Titus. Amazingly, there's a book in the Bible called the Book of Titus that is Paul writing to his mentee Titus. And so what I love about this whole piece is we don't recognize, I heard somebody say this one time, if you want to know about your net worth, examine your network. Your network can tell you about your net worth. And that may be financial, but I think it's huge. Not just your worth and vision. It's not just when you think about your net worth, it's often based upon your network. It's amazing. When I think about Hope TV, right, what we're doing right now, and the net worth of Hope TV. And I'm not talking just financial. What the value of Hope TV, the significance, the impact, that's net worth with Hope TV. Well, here's the reality. Without the proper network, Hope TV has no net worth. And who you have around you can make or break you. And that's why in the next season of our lives, for me, it's like I can't have everybody around. Some people who bring attitude, some people who just go along for the ride. Your network can heighten or limit your net worth. And so you get to a point in your life where you don't have time for the games and the foolishness and the attitudes and the craziness, especially in COVID. I was talking to one of our CEO at our church the other week. We were talking about just how our church has made sure that everybody stayed employed during the pandemic. We didn't lay off one employee. And when you think about many corporate 500 companies, billion-dollar companies, filed bankruptcy, laid employees off, and we were able to maintain, and people had families. You would think that people would be so happy. You would think that people would get in and do the struggle to make all this happen. But sometimes the wrong people can't appreciate the value. So your network will determine your net worth. And that's what Paul is really saying. And that's just not financial. It's your worth in the spirit, your worth in vision, your worth in impact, your worth in accomplishments, your worth in trajectory. And so, same thing with my project I just told you about, my album. I've had the best musicians and singers around me for years. And I've had this vision for music for years. But if they don't share in the vision and bring something to the table, October last year, I had one conversation with a guy about my vision that I've shared with many other people. I shared with him my heart about what I want to do for music. 2 weeks later, I was in the studio with music, ideas that he brought. A year later, I got a whole project. I've surrounded myself with all these people for years, talented, gifted, but your net work will determine your net worth. And the reality is the richness of my project that's going to drop on Friday is determined. It's worth something. It's the value, the spiritual impact it's going to have. But the reality is, because I didn't have the right people in my network, I was unable to produce music that has net worth. And so I like this whole issue here with Paul because he says, I took Barnabas and I took Titus with me. I took Ride or Dies with me. I wrote a whole book and named it in honor of Titus. Barnabas and I, even though Barnabas and I fell out over John Mark, it really was a blessing. We had a falling out because John Mark deserted us on the first journey and Barnabas wanted to take his nephew the second journey. I said, no way. We fell out. Barnabas went on his way with Silas. Barnabas went his way with John Mark. I took Silas and went on the second journey. But later on, I said, bring me John Mark because he's profitable to me. And even when I thought it was going to be a mix-up and a falling out, it really was not a falling out. God separated us so we could expand the gospel. So instead of it just Barnabas and I going on one journey, the falling out helped the gospel to spread. So it really was multiplication by division. It really was addition by subtraction. And so even in that, when Paul and Barnabas separated, you had two people now going out on two different tours. Barnabas and Paul were strong enough to manage their own journeys. And so even the falling out had two different ministries being blessed. But what I like about this, he still commends Barnabas. He still commends Titus, saying to me that you got to surround yourself with the right people. If you don't have the right people around you, it can destroy your heights. A little leaven can mess up the whole lump. One person with a bad attitude can throw off the whole pH and the whole chemistry. You have great chemistry, bring one person in, they throw the whole thing off. Because your net work will determine the net worth. And I think that's a great lesson. So my question to us, who are you surrounded with? Whatever your business is. You got a dream for business, you got a dream for a book or whatever. I had this dream for music, but I didn't have the right people around me. I had people around me who could play in church, and I had people around me who were great, who could produce, but the right person for me who had music, who caught my vision, I didn't have that person around me. And one conversation, and now I'm done with this album, and I'm already working on the next album. I'm halfway through the next album. I mean, you understand? So your network, who will you take as your Barnabas? Who is your Barbara? Who is your Titus? Who is your Tina? Who is your Tasha? Who's your Tana? So if you don't have the right people around you, who can hold you down and encourage you, who believes in what you believe in, it's not going to be effective. And so stay properly surrounded. That's the first thing I want to tell you. Stay properly surrounded. Point two is, I want to give you point two. Point two is, you got to seek the perspectives of sages. Seek the perspectives of sages. So he has Barnabas, he has Titus. That's his crew. Those are his ride or dies, or ride or lives, whatever we call it. So he's surrounded by the right people. So his network is right. And to this day, we're still talking about Paul. Paul's net worth, his net worth. Now, I'm not talking about financial here. I mean, what he's worth, his value to us, I believe was determined by his network. His network helped determine his net worth. And that's why he's still valuable. So what does he do when he go back to Jerusalem? He takes Barnabas, he takes Titus with him. They go back to Jerusalem. Why did they go to Jerusalem? Put that scripture back up there for a second. I'm almost finished. He says 14 years after the first visit, Barnabas and I went to Jerusalem and took Titus with us. Now look what he says. Why did you go? I went to clarify with them what had been revealed to me. I went to clarify what had been revealed to me. At that time, I placed before them exactly what I was preaching to the non-Jews. Now, let me talk about that for a moment. Keep that scripture up there. It's very important. Paul, he's been preaching. He's been going, taking the gospel to what we call Asia Minor and Europe. Paul's call was not to the Jewish people. Paul's call was to the Gentiles. It was to get the gospel out of Jerusalem. Jesus said in Acts 1:8, you're going to receive power. That's right, Angeline. You've been my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the uttermost parts of the world. Our goal is to take the gospel to the uttermost parts of the world. Even today, I'm telling you how powerful this is. I'm here in Georgia, right? But as I'm here in Georgia, without an airplane, right? I'm here in Georgia. And while I'm here in Georgia, I'm talking to somebody right now who's watching me live from Victorville, California. That's Tom. Angeline Washington from Las Vegas. I'm talking to people in San Antonio, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, all over the world, George. So even through this opportunity, we take the gospel to the world. Well, at the time of the first century, they didn't have satellite, they didn't have airplanes. And so Paul's mission was to take the gospel to Gentiles, to Western Asia, and the gospel eventually gets to Europe because of Paul. So his mission was to get the gospel to non-Jews. Jesus said he came, the Bible says about Jesus, he came to his own received it not. So he's taking the gospel to the non-Jews, right? I got Illinois here, right? Thank you. I got Illinois. So I got California, I got Las Vegas, I got Illinois, I got Texas. While I'm right here in Georgia, I'm preaching all over, and people gonna see this for the rest of the day all over the world, right? Different time zones. People gonna be watching this. Dubai, they're gonna be watching this, right? I get an opportunity to take the gospel. Paul didn't have that opportunity. Paul had to go and travel to these places by boat, by got Ohio here. Doug is Ohio. Think about that. So while I'm right here in Georgia, look how many states represented this morning already. Not those who are gonna watch it later. Look at that's Doug on here. So that's California. That's Tom is in California. Angeline is in Las Vegas, right? John Christina's in Illinois. I got somebody in East St. Louis, Illinois. Somebody in Chicago, Illinois. I got Ohio here. So why Paul couldn't do this? Even Jesus didn't do this. That's why he says like the greater works you're going to do. Not greater in quality, but greater in quantity. Jesus didn't have satellites. Jesus didn't have internet. So I don't have to travel to Chicago. If Paul wanted to preach to Ohio, he would have to go to Ohio. If Paul wanted to preach in California, he would have to travel. So they didn't hear what he was preaching. So what he does is he comes back 14 years later to share with the people what he'd been preaching. But so he wanted them to know the sermons he'd been preaching to the non-Jews, right? Right? But notice what it says. He said, I did this in private with the leaders, those held in high esteem by the church. That's deep. That's deep. Doretha, God bless you. So he says, I went back. I'm surrounded by it. I'm surrounded. I'm staying surrounded, right? I'm staying proper surrounded, but I'm seeking the perspectives of sages. He goes to Jerusalem 14 years later because he wants to share with the leaders what he'd been preaching since they were not able to hear his preaching. So he wants to go and talk to them about it. The people who were held in high esteem, high regard, the leaders, he wants to share, here's what I've been doing. I want to get your understanding. I want to get your endorsement. I want you to be comfortable so that our concern would not become a controversial public issue marked by ethnic tensions. So no. Because I don't want the enemy to get in and say I'm preaching something that's contrary to what the church is teaching or teaching something that's anti-Christ. Because what was happening, you had a lot of Jewish people didn't like the Gentile people. And Paul said, I don't want this to become messy. I know some people are jealous who try to take my message, distort it, and try to make it say what it's not saying. So let me go and speak to the people who held in high regard. Let me go and find them and share with them what's on my heart, what I've been doing. Let me get a spiritual checkup. Let me go and let me talk to them about what's happening so I can get some guidance and some mentorship. Every good coach needs a coach. Every good leader needs a leader. Every mentor needs a mentor. Every pastor needs a pastor. And so for me, whatever you're doing in life, you got to find somebody who's already done it. The Bible says it's iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And the multitude of counselors their safety. Whereas one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. So as anointed as Paul was, he did not become an island to feel like he had to be on his own, that he didn't owe anybody any answers. So he's still accountable. He's still submitted. Um, there are people in my life who, if they think I'm in error, or if they think I'm in ministry or in life, there are people who I hold in esteem who can come and check me, who can say to me, no, do it this way, or this is what you need to do, or this is how you navigate this, or this is what I'm expecting of you. And although God has blessed me um, to accomplish a lot, sometimes more, to do more in ministry. But even though I've been able to do more, like Paul preached places these church leaders had never gone. But this still doesn't mean he didn't submit to the leadership. He was still accountable. And I think that's a great lesson, that in life sometimes we don't make it because we don't seek the perspectives of the sages. What I mean by sages, those who are wise, smart people, the wisdom, the mature. Every person needs sages in it. You need somebody who's been there, who's done that. You need somebody who has experience, who can guide you, who can pray. It doesn't matter how many members they have, how much money they have, or where they live. Who in your life do you respect that God and anoint on their lives? They can guide you along the way. Paul wants to be accountable to those church leaders. He's not just out here being a renegade. He's open enough for correction. He's open enough to be accountable. He's open enough. He wants to share with them to make sure he's in order with the church. And I think that's so important, not just in spiritual things, but in life. If you're trying to raise a teenage boy, you know, it's good to have somebody in your life who has done that, who has done a good job raising somebody. If your son is going through adolescence, it's good to have somebody else who has just come through that. I'm trying to do an album. I'm a pastor that's doing music, right? So I've done songs, but from an industry perspective, I've never done that before, right? So I really watch, and when Bishop Marvin Sapp tells me something, I get insight from him, right? I respect the God on it. I respect what he's done. He's been doing this for 30 years. We're going back way to commission. Before he was a pastor, he was doing music. I did pastoring first, did music. Bishop Sapp did music, then he became a pastor. But he's been able to navigate both. So why would I not listen to a Bishop Marvin Sapp when he has something to say? Anything he has to say to me about this, I'm going to listen to him because he's navigated. He's done this, right? He's a sage in this. He's an industry veteran. He's done this effectively, pastoring, preaching, building ministry, and music. So that's the roadmap. So if I have an idea about something, why would I talk to somebody who's never done anything? So too many of us take construction advice from people who've never built anything. And so I like this about Paul, that even though Paul is the anointed one, he's going to write more books of the New Testament than anybody else, he still has a heart of accountability where he will go back to the church leaders and say, this is what I've been doing. I want to make sure that y'all get it. So if anybody else comes in and try to tell you something different, you hear from me exactly what I was saying, because these ethnic issues were so strong. Because even Peter, and I talk about that, even Paul and Peter had an issue. I'll talk about that in a moment, because Peter was acting strange one time when he got around the Jewish people. So Peter was still heavily Jewish. And Paul had checking with them, saying, hey, hold up now. Don't get around these Jewish people and get brand new. Don't forget about the Gentiles. Paul was adamant about the Gentiles. Peter was more stuck on the Jewish people. But nothing wrong with both of them, had their different assignments. But my point is, with all that Paul did and accomplished, he still had a heart to go back to the church of Jerusalem to get the perspectives of the sages. Don't you ever get so huge and so big and so successful that you can't come and lay down what you've been doing so somebody else can confirm it, talk through it with them, help you process it. Because, if you want to do something successful in business, find somebody who's been successful in business. And you can learn lessons from people who have failed at things, but you want to learn from people who've been there, done that. And I think that's what Paul is doing. And that's not always an age thing. You'd be surprised. I got pastors who are older than me who respect the maturity of my years in ministry. Pastor Simpson and Carol Simpson, My son and daughter in ministry, they're in Las Vegas. They're older than me. They're older than me in age, but they respect the wisdom and the years and experience I have. Even though I am younger than them in age, I'm older than them in ministry. They submit to my ministry because they see that I've been doing this for 33 years. They've seen the longevity, and so they see me as somebody with wisdom in this. So it's not always about going to somebody who's older than you. Um, it's good to have older people, but it's about the person who has the experience in that area. So Paul is willing, even though he's gone places. And here's the thing, Paul had gone places that these old sages probably had never gone. He's visited places, so he's more exposed. Don't matter. I'm going to come back and share with y'all what I've been preaching, all right? Because he wanted the perspectives of the sages. So number one, stay properly surrounded. Number two, seek the perspective of sages. Number three, thirdly and finally, this is the last one, shun people who are stumbling blocks. Shun, avoid, shoot. When I was a boy in elementary school, we had a song called "Shoot Fly Don't Bother Me." We need to get that. I don't know if y'all remember that. "Shoot Fly Don't Bother Me." We used to take music when I was in school, in chorus, and we had the music teacher would come to our classroom back then. We played the accordion and all that kind of stuff. They took music out, but that's another song. But anyway, so we had a song called "Shoot Fly Don't Bother Me." Shoot Fly. I don't know if y'all remember that one. And that's really what shun is. Shun the very appearance of evil. Stay away from it. Some of us need a shoe fly anointing. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to put the scripture back up, then I'm going to close. He says, 14 years after that first visit, Barnabas and I went to Jerusalem and took Titus with us. That's staying properly surrounded. I went to clarify. I want to make sure I was straight what had been revealed to me. Y'all see that? At that time, I placed before them exactly what I was preaching to the non-Jews. He says, I did this in private. It was nothing something I was trying to do publicly. I wanted to go private with the leaders to make sure I was straight, to make sure they understood that I was carrying out, I'm accountable to them. They sent me out in the first place. I'm coming back to give a report of what I've done. I did this in private with those leaders held in the high esteem by the church so that our concern would not become a controversial public issue. He says, here's what I know. Because I'm preaching to these non-Jews, and if the wrong Jewish people get this, they're going to say, I don't change the gospel. So I want to go back to it so they know what I'm preaching to the non-Jews. I didn't want my ministry to become marred by ethnic tensions. What a lesson this is. I wish many of our evangelical leaders can read this, listen to this, because right now we got so much division among ethnic and racial lines. Paul said, I didn't want my ministry to be something that caused racial or ethnic tensions. Lord, what a word for another day. I'm going to come back to that another time because we got a lot of tension in this world, and a lot of it is caused by spiritual, how we see things spiritually. He said, I didn't want to expose my years of work to denigration. I didn't want to endanger my present ministry. So I went back to make sure I was straight with them. Now keep going. That's good, Tina. Fruit don't lie. Stay clear over no fruit. He said, so significant. Here's what was significant. Titus, non-Jewish though he was not required to be circumcised. And that was the whole thing. They really were about rules. The Jews want the Gentiles, they want the Gentiles to be circumcised. They had all these rules about eating stuff, and you couldn't eat stuff that had been offered to idols. So they were trying to be so different. If you're gonna become a Jew, you got to eat like this. You're gonna become a Jew. You got to be circumcised. And Paul's like, salvation is not about circumcision. It's not about whether you eat meats or pork, stuff that because of what happened is you had some religions will offer meat to idols. So the Jews said don't eat it because they offer that meat to idols. They say, well, that ain't got anything to do with us. I'm eating the meat to survive. Just because somebody else, it's almost like this right here. If somebody uses a chicken and they offer this chicken to God, you're the chicken God. So am I supposed to not eat chicken because they use it to idols? So just because they use it to idols, don't mean I can't eat it. So what was happening in that day, if somebody used chicken, just use as an example, somebody used chicken and they had an idol god and they would offer that chicken as a sacrifice to God, the Jews say don't eat it. Well, what you gonna eat then? Because everything you offer, all the fruit, is not about what they do with it, right? It's about what I do with it, right? So they had all these rules and all these things, and circumcision was one. So Paul was preaching Christ, and so, but what he realized is the Jewish people some of the strict Jews were gonna hate him and hate his ministry and try to tell lies on him. So that's why he went back to Jerusalem to let them know what he was preaching. He says, I took Titus. He was a non-Jew. Timothy, same. He said, but they weren't required to be circumcised. He says, so while we were in conference, he said, when we went back to talk to the leaders, the sages, some spies infiltrated us. I just went back to let them know what was going on. We got infiltrated by spies who pretended to be Christians. They slipped in just to find out how free true Christians were. He says, but their ulterior motive was to reduce us to their brand of servitude. They wanted, he said, these people who weren't even really connected with the Lord, all they wanted to do was be a spy. They were pretending. And their whole goal was to reduce us. They wanted to bring us down. He said they wanted to destroy my ministry. We got infiltrated by spies who were just pretending. He says, but let me tell you what I didn't do. God gave us the discernment, and we didn't give them the time of day. Woo! I'm finished right there. We were determined to preserve the truth of the message for you. We didn't let the infiltrators, the haters, the spies, destroy and distract us from our assignment. They wanted to reduce us. They wanted to bring us down. They wanted to say what you're doing and all that. And you got people and you got the enemy who wants to make you think that what you're doing is not significant, that it's small, that it's not important. You know, you have people, oh, you need to be like this one, or you ain't doing what this one is doing. Let me tell you something. Stop letting people reduce you. Stop letting people bring you down. Get you a shoe fly anointing. Sean, they're stumbling blocks. Shoe fly, don't bother me. Just shoot. Shun people's stumbling blocks. He said, we're not going, these are spies, the infiltrators. They want to reduce us. And you got to get you a shoe fly anointing. You know what you mean? Shoe fly. I don't know if that's country. I don't know if y'all remember that song. I'm telling my age. That's way back when we had chorus in school. I'm in elementary school. We sang that song. Shoe fly on the music teacher, Miss Blossom Bergen, would come by the house to school once every 2 or 3 days, and we have music singing in the classroom. That's a long time ago, y'all. And that's one of the songs I remember. That I must have been 3rd or 4th grade. Shoe fly don't bother me. Shoe fly don't bother me. Shoe fly. You know, that's when you like the images, you know how the flies come when you're eating or you're outside, the fly come, shoot. Come on, fly. That's some people in your life are like flies. That's what they are. Shoe fly. Don't bother me. Because they will get you off center and destroy your ability to be productive. Be determined to finish the goal. You know, I learned this I'm going to close with this. There was a man who was driving the car, right? He was driving the car, and he was on his interstate. He was driving the car on the interstate. Guess what happened? When he opened the door, a gnat got in the car. So as he was driving, the gnat kept flying across his face. The gnat. You know what a gnat is, don't you? And as he was driving in the net, he kept trying to get rid of the gnat. Trying to get in the net. And got so preoccupied, focused on the gnat. Ended up having a horrific car crash. And he almost died. And what is significant about this is gnats inside of a car don't have but a short lifespan. Very short. The gnat can't harm him. The gnat can't sting him. The gnat don't have any poison. So this man almost died because rather than keep his eyes on the road as assignment, he's fanning gnats. It's okay to have a shoe fly on and get them away from you, shun them. But don't you become so focused on fanning gnats that can't even sting or bite you. and destroy you, that you end up crashing, almost killing your trajectory, your vision, and your goal. Because instead, staying focused on the road and keep it in the middle of the road. Here you fanning something that has no power on you. Just tell them to shoot. It's one thing if it's a wasp, if it's a, if it's a hornet, it makes it a little different. You want to pull that car over. That can hurt you. A mosquito can even, do something to you and leave a bump. You know, but we fan out the gnats. Tell that fly to shoot, but shun them. Just don't even let it in your spirit. Don't you give it the time of day. Let me tell you what's happening. Too many of you today, too many of us have been putting our energy on people that don't mean anything. You get frustrated with people. Like, why am I frustrated with them? They don't push us forward. Stop letting people have that much of your energy. You got an assignment. Your work is more important than trying to avoid a gnat. So today, whoever's in your spirit is trying to get you off your assignment, just tell them shoot fly. Stay properly surrounded. Seek the perspective of sages, but shun people who stumble. Just avoid them. Don't let in your spirit. Don't let into your mind and your heart, because your work is too valuable. Paul said this message was too important for me to let flies and gnats destroy it. Y'all doing all this fanning gnats, and got your eyes off on the gnats and not on the goal. Today, I came with one word for you. Don't give it the time of day. If it doesn't push you higher, if it doesn't help you to be where God wants you to be, I say this sometimes, if it doesn't finance, romance, or advance you, why you give it time of day? Doesn't finance, doesn't romance, doesn't advance, leave that net alone. Keep your eyes on the goal. Don't give it the time of day. Hope you've been blessed by it today. I love y'all. Hope you're encouraged. Meet me tomorrow for Bible study at 12 noon and 7 p.m. We're going to finish the series on how the Bible came to be. Going to go a little deeper. And I'll be back here Thursday morning for Morning Dew Again live, and I'm excited about it. And also, I'll be doing our deeper dive this Friday morning as well. So at 10. So tomorrow noon to 7 Bible study, 9:30 back Thursday for deeper dive, 10 a.m. Friday for Bible study Wednesday, Morning Dew Thursday, a deeper dive Friday at 10 a.m. Hope y'all been blessed. Don't give it the time of day. And always remember this: if you be good to God, God will be good to you. And don't forget to pre-order my album, LP. This coming Friday. Don't forget to get ready. I need y'all to get it from my website. This coming Friday, on my website only. You're going to get 3 songs. And then on the 15th, the whole album will be available. So if you pre-order, you get 3 this week and you get 4 on the 15th through my website. And if someone will order the 15th, it's going to be everywhere digitally on the 15th. But good to see you this morning. But I want y'all to get it, God, period. Y'all don't forget to get my album. Don't y'all forget to get my album. I need y'all to support me this coming Friday, man. I need everybody's support. I need y'all to support me this coming Friday. I need y'all to support. I need everybody to support me this coming Friday. God, period. Y'all see that? Y'all see my album cover? So I'm excited about that, man. I thank y'all for what y'all doing. So make sure y'all support, all right? Thank you so very much. I appreciate you so much. God bless you. Y'all stay with God. God will get you through it. Don't give it the time of day. Peace.